for more on the end of the strike by the Air Canada flight attendants. We're joined live this morning by aviation management expert John Gradek from McGill University. John, appreciate your time on this morning. Of course, we don't know the details of what's in this tentative deal just yet, but according to CUPE's language, unpaid work is over. They're describing as the agreement reached as historic. How could this then have an impact on the airline industry as a whole if, in fact, ground pay will be paid?
Well, I think that this was inevitable. I don't think Air Canada could have, withstood the pressure that was coming from its own flight attendants and from the other industry carriers that had moved in this direction as well. And I think the Minister of Jobs basically was starting to do a little inquiry about these practices of working and not being paid. So yeah, the writing was on the wall pretty quickly. This was going to be a slam dunk for the union in the contract negotiations. And the only question right now is the structure. How much are you going to pay the flight attendants? Is it going to be the full salary they get on their airplane today? And when do you start the clock? Do you start the clock when they walk in the building, or do you start the clock 45 minutes or 30 minutes before the flight? So those are the technicalities that we don't have. We're not party to just yet. But that's something that is in the detail.
Okay, yeah, and John, over the past few days with these negotiations going on, we've been hearing multiple sides of stories from the air flight attendants and also from Air Canada, saying that Air Canada flight attendants are, among the top paid in the world, and yet we heard that a base salary for someone starting out is $1,900, which a lot of flight attendants said was beyond or below minimum wage. So how do Air Canada flight attendants, their wages compared to their counterparts, let's say, from U.S. airlines or other airlines in Canada?
Yeah, there is a wide range of salaries that Air Canada pays its flight attendants, both Air Canada and Air Canada Rouge. The Air Canada Rouge flight attendants at the bottom of the scale, $1,900 a month, $2,000 a month is for an entry level flight attendant is not unheard of. But I think that one of the big issues really is all of the flight attendants under 5 years of service. Those flight attendants are at the poverty level or pretty close to it, particularly if you're living in Toronto or Vancouver with that salary that Air Canada is offering. So that has to be addressed. I know Transat addressed it a couple of years ago when they eliminated the bottom rungs that we call of the pay scale, and everybody that rung got bumped up. I think that was a model that worked at Transat. Let's see how Air Canada addressed it, because it's not a question of the senior flight attendants getting 38%, and that would make them amazingly well paid. It's what do you do with the junior guys that have this wage gap that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Okay, so John, it sounds like Air Canada is going to have to sort of loosen the purse strings a little bit. What's that going to mean then for people looking to book tickets? Should we expect the prices of flights to go up in the next several months?
Pricing in Canada is a function of the competition, and we've seen it in the last few days. We do. We have 4 other carriers. We have WestJet, we have Porter, we have Flair, and we have Air Transat. And so those carriers, keep Air Canada in check. Without Air Canada, it got a little crazy this week in terms of pricing on the market because the prices went through the roof. But typically, between the 5 carriers, we have, enough competition, I believe, in Canada to keep prices in check.
Okay, and John, we know that this kind of 4-day strike really affected passengers. 130,000 each day is estimated. Some passengers, paying a lot of money out of pocket just to rearrange their plans, get to where they're going. And some of them want recourse. But is there any recourse? Can they get any compensation from Air Canada as a result of this strike at all? Or is it kind of, no, you're out of luck here?
Well, I think that if you had a European trip and you were stuck in Europe, the European rules take precedence. And the European rules are much more generous than they are for Canadian travelers. You're looking at European rules covering airfare, hotels, meals, and that keep the receipts and give them to Air Canada, and Air Canada has to pay. In Canada, a very different story. The air passenger protection rights do cover transportation, but don't cover anything that you missed up in terms of hotels or meals. So there might be some help for you to get some a refund from Air Canada in Canadian travel as well.
Okay, hang on to your receipts is the message there. Aviation management expert John Gradek, appreciate the time this morning. Thanks so much for this.
Thanks, John.
My pleasure.